Please subscribe to our channel by pressing the subscribe button and the bell icon to receive updates on new videos.
Om Sarvadharmastapakastvam Sarvadharmaswarupakah Acharyanam Mahacharyo Ramakrishna Te Namaha. So far you are listening to a very good explanation about spiritual life as well as Gayatri Mantra. Continuing the same topic, because spiritual life is ultimate life. We are all human beings. And spiritual life, as the word goes, itself explains that it is related with spirit. It means God. Spiritual life means going to God. That means becoming free. Free from all the dualities. So, why should we go to God? Because we have come from God. And that's why Swami Vivekananda puts it so beautifully. Religion is manifestation of divinity already in man. Religion is manifestation of divinity already in man. That means divinity is already present within each jiva. Not only particular human beings, but whole universe. And what we have to do is only we have to manifest by practicing certain disciplines. So when divinity already is there within us, so there is natural tendency of human mind, or every mind in fact, to go to that source of joy. That divinity is Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta, eternally free, eternally happy. We all want happiness. We are struggling for that. We adopt different methods to become happy. Momentary happy we become sometimes, but again we hanker for something. Why this happens? Because the happiness which we get is not permanent. Because we are searching the happiness in the world. And world is anitya and asukha. The quality of the world is anitya and asukha. That is impermanent. Anitya is impermanent. And asukha is, there is no happiness. Every happiness brings misery along with it. So the goal is to go beyond this harsha and shoka. That means all the time we are experiencing these two things, joy and sorrow. So this joy and sorrow, these dualities, all the time we are coming across. We want only happiness, but it gives sorrow also. So that's what Kathopanishad says, Tam durdarsham gudhamanu pravishtam guhahitam gauhareshtam puranam adhyatma yogadhi gamena devam matva dhiro harsha shokau jahati. That means this shloka explains the quality of Atman or God. Tam durdarsham, it is difficult to see that Atman. Our problem is we all want to see through our eyes. Pratyaksha. But our eyes are deluded already. We see so many things, but those are abstract. Those are not exact. So tam durdarsham, it is very difficult to see the Atman. Gudhamanu pravishtam. That means it is gudha. It cannot be understood easily. Anupravishtam. Guhahitam. It is residing in a subtle intellect type. And Gauhareshtam Puranam. Adhyatma Yogadhi Gamena Devam. So this, by adopting Adhyatma Yoga, that by adopting some disciplines in spiritual life, it can be attained. this God, Devam Adhyatma Yogadhigamena Devam Matva Dhiro Harsha Shokau Jahati. So Dhira, that means wise people, those who have discriminating faculty fully awakened in them. They discriminate and they realize this Atman or this God, and they go beyond Harsha and Shoka. And so that is why we need to lead a spiritual life, because our lives are related to spirituality. And Swamiji says, each soul is potentially divine. So every one of us is divine being. So sometimes we feel, how can we be God? But that spirit is there, that Atman is there, that is a link between us. Sutre Manigana Iva, Shri Krishna says in Gita. So how God is connecting us, like a thread connecting flowers in the garland. Sutre Manigana Iva. So each soul is potentially divine, and our goal is to manifest that divinity within, either by work or worship, or by psychic control, that is Raja Yoga, or by discrimination. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Raja Yoga. So we can adopt any of this path, one or all, and become free. That's what Swami Vivekananda says. Because freedom is ultimate goal. You will find everybody wants to become free. Even a worm, if you try to crush that worm, it struggles for life. It wants to run away. Or some reaction will be there, some response will be there. So, there are different paths, but goal is same. Whatever path we may follow, path may be different, but goal is same. So, yat sankhya prapyate sthanam tat yoga hi api gamyate. So, sankhya and yoga and different paths, they appear to be different, but ultimately they lead to the same goal. That is what we see from the life of Sri Ramakrishna, how he practiced spiritual disciplines according to different religions, different methods, and ultimately he reached same goal. And that's how he found out that there are different paths, but ultimately goal is the same. They reach to the same goal. So according to Kenopanishad, it says, understanding Brahman in this life, that is a goal. If we realize the Brahman, if we realize that oneness with Brahman, then that is fine. Otherwise, we have to suffer again and again. So that's what the people, those who have realized God, they see Brahman everywhere in and everything. Sri Ramakrishna one day he prostrated before a lady who was carrying excreta, human excreta. And he said, "Oh Divine Mother, today you have come in this form." So because his eyes was trained, or his spirit or his mind was trained to see God everywhere, he had tuned himself, he has synchronized himself with the Brahman. There was no difference. And that's what Shankaracharya also says, Kashta khalu suranara tiryak pretadishu samsara dukkha bahuleshu prani nikayeshu janma jara marana rogadi samprapti ajnanat. This is the gist of the world. So he says it's a matter of great concern to be born due to ignorance, ajnanat, due to ignorance in gods or human beings or animals or plants, any of these things, because they are full of misery like janma, jara, marana, rogadi. So birth, death, old age and diseases. All the yonis you will find is full of this janma, jara, marana, dukhadi. So spiritual life is getting rid of all these things, and it is experiencing God in heart, in our spiritual heart. It is an experience, it is a matter of experience, not perception through our indriyas. So this is about spiritual life. Now, it is so difficult. There are difficulties in spiritual life. Rather, spiritual life is full of difficulties. but not impossibilities. Difficulties will be there. Had it been so easy, everyone would have become Paramahamsa or God. But we are trying for that. And we should know difficulties, what are the difficulties. Then we can overcome those things. So, spiritual life is full of difficulty. That's why Kathopanishad says, Kshurasya dhara nishita duratyaya, durgam pathastat kavayo vadanti. This path is full of difficulties. It is like walking on the path of razor. If little bit balance goes, then we will be falling into pieces. And that is the reason. And why it is Durgam Patha? That means it is so difficult path. Because of our own tendencies. Because of our own desires. Our own complications. And that is the reason this becomes difficult. So one Bengali song, it says, Mana chalo nije niketane. Mana chalo nije niketane. The song which Swami Bhitiharananda, that time Naren, he sang in front of Sri Ramakrishna. Mana chalo nije niketane. Oh my mind, let us go to our own house. Samsara bideshe bideshir beshe. Brahma keno akarane. Samsara bideshe. That means this world is foreign land. We are all foreigners. This world is not our own place. Bideshir beshe. We have dressed like foreigners. That means this body. Annamaya kosha. Our real place is somewhere else. Samsara videshe, bideshir beshe, brahma keno akarane. So why to unnecessarily roam here and there without any goal? Brahma means roaming without any goal and falsely anticipating the things, understanding the things which they are not. Then it says, so what are the difficulties in the life? Lobha moha adi pathe dasyugan. So on this spiritual path, there are different robbers we come across. And what are those? Lobha moha adi. Kam, Krodha, Lobha, all Shadripus. So this Lobha, Moha, Adi, etc., these are all robbers. They rob the person of good qualities. And they stop his progress. Pathikera kore sarvasva mokshan. They rob that person, sadhaka, of everything, all the good qualities. Parama jatene rakhore prahari shama dama dui jane. That's why carefully we have to keep with ourselves this shama, dama, etc. That is tranquility of mind, control of our senses. These are very important. If these things are there, then these robbers like lobha and moha, etc., they cannot do anything. Then it says, Satya pathe mana karo arohan. So walk on the path of truthfulness. Satya pathe mana karo arohan. Premer alo jali chalo anukshan. What kind of light we should have on this path? Premer alo. Light of love. So love for everyone without expecting anything in return. That is very important. And then Sadhu Sangha name ache panthadam Shranta hole tatha korebe vishram. So while walking on this path, we may become tired, exhausted. Our energy will go. So to refresh ourselves, there are some guest house. That guest house is Sadhu Sangha. Sadhu Sangha means company of good people. Always we will not get sannyasis for company. So Sangha of good people. It may be books, it may be good people, devotees, it may be nature, anything which can inculcate or evoke spiritual feelings within us. That is the Sadhu Sangha. Because this world is full of Maya. And this Maya is supported by Brahman only. And it has many gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. Sattva is, tranquility, control of mind. And then rajas is activity and tamas is inertia, laziness, etc. And from that maya only this whole world has come into existence. And we are moving in that maya. And there are 8 fetters which, according to Gospel, Sri Ramakrishna explains while talking to devotees. There are 8 fetters. They bind us. We are bound by those 8 fetters. And what are those? Shame, hatred, fear, caste, lineage. That means my father was so and so, my grandfather was so and so, so great person. All this we talk lineage. Good conduct. I am very good person. I am very methodical person. I follow routine. This also leads to a bondage. Grief and secretiveness, concealing the things, keeping it secret. Shame, hatred, etc. That does not mean we should become shameless. But the activity which we perform in spiritual life will such that it will not have any shame. If we remember the life of Sri Ramakrishna, you will find Sri Ramakrishna's language was not very polished, not very superfine. But what he talked was wisdom. And nobody minded that language. Everybody got the essence of the truth. Sometimes that cloth he was wearing was not, he was not able to keep the cloth on his body. But nobody felt that shame. Everybody felt he is like a small child. So that parivartan or that change happens in surroundings because of that spiritual vibrations. And of course there should not be hatred because there is all related with our mind. And all the negative qualities bring a kind of contamination in the mind, pollution in the mind. And then the moment pollution comes, we cease to see the things clearly. And that's why this, by Guru's grace, we can go beyond these 8 fetters. So Sri Ramakrishna says again and again, not to reason about God, not to argue. We ask so many questions and so many answers are also given, but we don't get satisfied because something tangible we want that we don't get. And we go on reasoning. How is this? How is that? If God is there, then why these things should happen? All these things. Then Sri Ramakrishna says further, I know only one thing, that I know nothing. That is the best answer. I know nothing means God is beyond knowing. So the moment we try to know, we try to imagine something in our mind. And that creates kind of limitations. And God cannot be limited. We may take photograph of ocean. But ocean, whatever we see in the photograph, ocean is not limited by photograph. It can give just idea of ocean. Similarly, the God, so many scriptures say something about God. But God is not only that. It's only to give an idea. So here, what happens is material craving, because of our material cravings, sadhaka gets slipped from the path of spirituality. And many times we try to control unnecessarily. So Sri Ramakrishna says, it is better to fulfill small desires. And we can have discrimination as far as big desires are concerned. But small desires, so that's why Sri Ramakrishna taught through his life how to fulfill small desires. For example, he wanted to eat rasgulla. And rasgulla was brought to him. Then he took one rasgulla and told his mind, oh my mind, this is a rasgulla. This is made out of milk and it is sugar syrup. It is put in sugar syrup and it gets some taste. Like that, saying this, he ate that rasgulla. And afterwards, his desires were satisfied. And afterwards, he never got the desire to eat rasgulla. That is important. Once it is fulfilled, we should know this is over. But we hanker it for again and again. And that's why here, Brother Lawrence, was monk in Christian monastery during 17th century. He joined as a cook, and all the time he remembered God and got enlightenment. And he writes some letters to sadhakas. So very enlightening letters. One of the letters he says about this only, about fulfilling desires. He says, I do not mean that it is necessary to restrain oneself immoderately. Immoderately means unnecessarily, where we can get rid of the desires. So we need not restrain there. No, we must serve God in a holy freedom, going about our business carefully, but without distress or anxiety, recalling the mind to God quietly and calmly whenever we find it wandering. So here he says, indirectly, that small desires we can fulfill, so that while going to God, while practicing japa or meditation, we will not have that thought of desires in our mind. That is very important. Swami Bhitiharananda Maharaj, one of the presidents of Ramakrishna order, he used to get many things. Devotees used to give many best things. So some monk had told him, Maharaj, you get so many good things, best shawls, etc. So please keep one shawl for me. So Vireshwaranji, he was very kind-hearted and he used to fulfill many desires, small desires. So he kept one good shawl for that monk, particular monk. Then somebody asked him, why the shawl you have kept, such a best shawl? Then Vireshwaranji replied, see, this so-and-so monk, he requested me to keep. And I also thought, after getting this shawl, if his small desire is fulfilled, then his whole mind he can put on God and he will progress in spiritual life. So similarly, this small desires, it doesn't matter. Only things we have to be careful as far as big desires are concerned. The desires which we get bound to the world. Asha pasha, that is the bondage of desires and expectations. Those which bind us to the world, those desires are very dangerous. And Gita says, Trividam narakasyedam dwaram nashanam atmanaha kama krodhas tatha lobha tasmat etatrayam tyajet. These three gateways to hell, kama, krodha and lobha, desires, anger and greed. We have to get rid of these things. But it is so difficult, because these three things only, they rob us or they disturb us in daily life. It is very difficult to cross over them. But Sri Ramakrishna has given such a simple solution for that. As far as kama or this desire is concerned, he says, be desirous of God. Direct every your feeling towards God. If you want to have desire, be desirous of God. And then krodha, be angry with God. Doesn't matter, we shrink. As soon as we feel, somebody says, be angry with God, then we feel that, how can we get angry on God? In fact, we get angry on our very own person. We cannot get angry on unknown person. Because known person, he knows us very well and he can absorb our anger. So God is very our own. It is very close. He is very close to us. So there is nothing wrong. Rather, God likes the devotee's anger. Rakhal Maharaj, Brahmananji Maharaj, even he was a boy. So he wanted to have spiritual experience. And he was requesting again and again to Sri Ramakrishna, please grant me spiritual experience. Sri Ramakrishna used to say in his own style that when mother wills, then it will happen, everything. But he was not listening. One day he got angry. He threw that one oil pot and started going outside his room. So Sri Ramakrishna liked that attitude, because he is so eager to have that spiritual experience that his mind is full of now God and he wants to have that experience. So God becomes happy when devotees, seeing devotees' anger. And lobha. So be greedy for God, Sri Ramakrishna says. So every desire, every feeling, if we direct towards God, then we become full of God. And according to Raja Yoga, there are different mental vrittis waves, klishta and aklishta. So, klishta means complicated, which creates avidya and klesha, misery. And aklishta, that lead us to God, towards enlightenment. So, these klishta vrittis are viparya, that is egoism, and attachment, hate, etc. And nidra, it creates nidra. Nidra is that inertia of the mind. Mind is not working in that. So, how to get rid of this? Abhyasa and vairagya. Practice. Practice is very important. And every activity we have to guide towards spiritual enlightenment. Every activity. Because it's not enough to have particular time for japa and meditation. Rather, scriptures guide us how to perform our activity, how our speech should be. Gita says, Anudvega karam vakyam satyam priya hitam chayat. How our speech should be? Anudvega. There should not be irritation while talking to others. We pour venom sometimes. We make other person irritated. That should not be there. And it should be based on satya, fact, truthfulness. Priya. At the same time, it should be pleasant to the mind, pleasant to the listener. And hitam, it should do some good to the listener. That is a vangmay tapaha. So, that is austerity of speech. It is very difficult to follow. Whichever is difficult, that becomes austerity. It's not easy. It's not easy to tell truth. It's not easy to tell pleasant truth. But it is difficult, no doubt. But it is good training for the mind. And then Shraddha should be there. Shraddha in Guru Vakya. Whatever Guru has told me, it should be 100% should be accepted. And Titiksha, that is very important. Titiksha means Sahanam Sarva Dukkhanam Apratikara Purvakam Chinta Vila Parahitam Sa Titiksha Nigadati. There are so many things happen to us, but there should not be any reaction. That does not mean we should be like a stone. We cannot be. But consciously we should accept everything. Sahanam Sarva Dukkhanam, tolerating all the everything, miseries. Apratikara Purvakam, there should not be reaction. As we have our attitude towards children. Children are innocent. So in that innocence, whatever they do, we don't feel miserable. Suppose they break some pot, costly pot even maybe. We don't get angry because we know he is innocent. He has not done purposely. So we don't react immediately. Apratikara Purvakam. Chinta Vilapa Rahitam. We may not react, but in our mind we may have that feeling. Arey, this thing happened and all this thing negative happened. Why to me only? All this thing. That also should not be there. Then our spiritual progress becomes fast. So there are actually so many things to discuss, but more than discussion, practicing is very important. And regular reading of scriptures, at least one teachings from the scriptures, that helps us to cultivate good mind so that we can progress towards spiritual life. Om Niranjanam Nityam Anantarupam Bhaktanukampa Dhrita Vigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidhyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namama.